Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today we're going to be going over the best version of Skyrim to mod on if you want to return to modding in 2024. If you had the urge to actually quit, because I did at one point, but then it just, it's kind of addictive at this point. And since I know most of you took a break after the update, now you probably will want to come back eventually, because every person who quits does come back eventually, because that modding urge always comes back. And when it comes back with a vengeance. And considering most Wabbajack mod lists have a specific version you need or a version that they prefer to use, why not make it easier on yourself and just decide which version you want to use right now? And I could just trash every single version and introduce bias, because I'm sure you all know what my favorite version is, or what I'm going to say. And that is 640, the version before the latest update. You probably were expecting me to say 5.97, and I knew you expected that, that's why I said something else. No, in all honesty, my favorite version is 5.97, that's the main version that I use, but I'll go over every single version just to see which one might fit you better. But honestly, there's probably only two versions that you should be using right now anyway. I'm going to be completely honest here. The latest two updates really don't have too much of a downside to using. So that includes the 170 and 130, which is the latest two updates like I just said. Which is the version your Steam probably updated to without you giving it permission to, and then you woke up unable to mod Skyrim. Most mods as of today has updated to accommodate these newest versions of Skyrim, so you can safely mod on them if you want. I wouldn't do it, but if you want. But there are some mods that you can't use yet, but they aren't that important, only two major ones. And that being the downgrade patch, because that still hasn't updated yet for some reason. Usually it is updated by now. But I did make a guide for it, which you can check my channel for if you want to actually downgrade to an earlier version of Skyrim. But the other one that is also important is Grass Cache. Grass Cache is very important because it helps save FPS. And it also extends where you can actually see your grass, so if you go to your settings and turn your display all the way down, your grass will still be there. So it saves you FPS and you will also see very far. So like if you're in a tundra, you'll still see grass all the way over to Fort Greymore. The only good part about these updates, and I'm glad to actually have them, call me whatever you want, but the good part about these updates is the fact that they allow big mod lists to get even bigger. So now you're seeing amazing mod lists like Novice or Vagabond with over 2,000 mods. Well, Vagabond has over 4,000 mods, but we're not going to get into that. Well, yes, we are a little bit, because it has over 900 gigabytes that you need before you can even download it. But that's all I wanted to say. 900 gigabytes is kind of crazy, right? But sure, you can call me a shill, whatever you want, because I kind of said the update was kind of good. I mean, it did set us back a little bit, but they didn't make us buy anything else, and it allowed us to mod even longer than before. Because believe it or not, people were asking if there was a way to bypass the ESL limit, but with this update, now they don't have to because it's been done for them. But honestly, there's no real benefit to using the latest versions of Skyrim besides ease of access, which I mean by the fact that as soon as you download Skyrim from whatever you bought it on, or if you actually did buy it, but we won't get into that. But yeah, from however you got Skyrim, the version will already be 170, so it's just there for you to just play or immediately start modding. Considering I kind of modded Skyrim first before I ever even actually played it. Well, I mean, I did used to play Skyrim on the Switch and on the Xbox because I didn't actually own it, someone else did, and I just wanted to play, but every time I did, I would go like Argonian or Khajiit, then I would attack Whiterun guards and then die immediately. And then I would just retire from the game every time. It was just how I did things. Okay, so now I'm going to get into details about the previous version, 640, the update that caused the most commotion. Well, technically it wasn't this version exactly of the update because this was the last version, Anniversary Edition, technically. But it was the version that introduced all the things the Anniversary brought with it, like paid content. Now this update really hit us hard. There was absolutely no reason for this update to have ever happened besides just them wanting more money. And that's kind of why I never bought it until recently, just last year. I spent all those years not doing it. It's crazy how fast time flies. The update happened years ago, but I feel like it just happened. And I'll be honest here, there is absolutely no good reason to still be on this version unless you're just absolutely devious, or if you just mastered your mod list, which most of us haven't done even after 5 years of modding, so I really doubt that you have mastered this and figured out how to do it, and you don't really need to mod anymore. But like I said, if you have done that, then you have no reason to update or downgrade. But otherwise, you should not be using this version. The main reason is because it's like the middle child, and I'm sad to admit this, but after the newest was born, you won't be getting attention anymore. Every mod you will have to pray that it works on your version of Skyrim before you download. Most of the time you have to ask the mod author, and knowing Nexus people, they will ignore you. Or someone will yell at you for being dumb, and then you'll have to launch your Skyrim just to see if it works, just for it to crash. Or maybe it'll work for now, and then you get further in your mod list and then things will start crashing and you won't know why. Or maybe you'll have to do some dumpster diving, like a child getting a hand-me-down from the older sibling. You'll have to do some dumpster diving and go on the old files just to find your version of Skyrim. Which 5.97 does have to do sometimes, but most of the time it's up there. It's still in the main downloads, unlike the middle child. But like I said, if you still love 640 and you got a good mod list, go ahead and keep it, otherwise I see no reason to keep this. And just for that reason alone, I'm going to say this is the worst version of Skyrim to be modding on in 2024. If you can even manage to figure out how to get to it, like maybe with my guide you figured it out, but that guide is so you can downgrade past that version, not so you can keep using it. Don't get me started on the people still using 6353, because that version was before 640. And I don't know why they still use that version, but if you ever meet someone still using that version asking about mods for that version, you should ignore them because they have evil intentions. And now we move on to the best version of Skyrim. Well, I won't say that because that's biased, but it is the best in my opinion. Still, that's biased. But this version is the jack of all trades and master of all. There is no downsides to using this version. And this is the last version of Special Edition, which is 5.97. The only thing that I don't like about this version is that sometimes mod authors still call Anniversary Edition Special Edition, so sometimes it confuses people using 5.97 because then they think that the mod works for their version, and it doesn't because mod authors refuse to put Anniversary Edition. But this version of Skyrim is the version everyone got used to before Bethesda went on their updating spree that no one liked. This version is the last one that script framework worked on, and this is the main reason, well, pretty much the only reason you can't use grass cache on the other versions. So most people recommend making a completely separate list just so you can run grass cache. So making an entire separate list or just downgrade to this version so everything is on easy mode for you and so that you don't mess up your list. It's up to you on that point. Plus most wabjack that you see will also be on this version as well because it's the most stable. I'm not sure if Vector updated to the other versions of Skyrim lately, but from what I remember, he used a special edition. Same with Vagabond, but like I said, I could be a little wrong about those. The only reason you would have ever upgraded past this point willingly is because the new ESL requires you to use the newer version just to use the new ESL or it would crash, if that makes sense. But then there's a mod named Bees, and Bees just means backported extended ESL support, which means exactly what it says. Now the new ESL works on 5.97, which means that nobody needed to upgrade anymore. So there's two options for you now. You can either get on the latest version of Skyrim 1.6.1170, which is the full name, which I hate saying, but I had to say it just for showcase reasons. Or you can come back to the original version of Skyrim Special Edition, which is 1.5.97, which is so much easier to say and is better in my opinion. And that's probably just me being biased, but I recommend the latter just like I said. And especially just because some of the mods that I like is not available on the newest version of Skyrim because the mod authors quit Nexus and closed their permission so no one could update it to the newest versions. Like no one talks about some of them, but one I really like that is imported is Crime Decay or maybe Signature Equipment. Crime Decay lets bounties fade over time, so if you kill Nazim then stay away from Whiterun for a while, they eventually forget about you, but the higher the bounty the longer it takes, and considering Nazim isn't that important, shouldn't take that long. And Signature Equipment lets whatever weapon you're using at the time level up with you, so if you start off using something like a level 1 iron sword, by the time you're level 50 it'll be a legendary weapon that can probably kill dragons. So you could even turn a kitchen knife into a dragon tier slayer if you do it correctly. And they just aren't available on the newest versions of Skyrim, there's no better way of putting that. So like I said, there is much opinion based on which version is the best, but one thing to think about while you are doing it is that one version can use everything, which is the special edition, while one can only use the most updated mods because they are supported for it. So some people may say you should just use the newest one because there's no reason to keep special edition, but that is a lie, especially if you've been modding for a while, then you're just more comfortable. But that was it for today, guys. I got to rant and I had fun while doing so. But let me know what you guys thought down in the comments. But as of right now, leave a like down on the video and subscribe to the channel for more content in the future because more is coming soon. But as of right now, I hope you have a great day. Peace and love.